Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd and this week's Crypto Corner Sat Stacker for Saturday, October 18th. And so in this video, I'm going to be going over the 20 different cryptocurrencies listed over here. After I am done streaming this, I will add timestamps so you can skip ahead to your favorite cryptocurrency. But yeah, I am just going to be going through those. If you do have requests, I'm going to be limiting them to only super chats and for cryptocurrencies only, because this is Crypto Corner Sat Stacker. But yeah, there will be, like I said, timestamps down below. There are also links to a number of the things that I have going on back here, which really just lays out my thesis for cryptocurrencies for the year of 2025, going back to Easter from April 20th. I went over my thesis on how I thought that Ethereum was finding a bottom right around there. So there is the URL, but you can also find that in the description of this video, a link to that video. And also I did update that thesis a few weeks ago. Maybe I'm proven a little bit wrong with it, but it was really just like a renewal of my thesis coming to a number of levels. There is a link to that in the description as well, along with a video actually the most recent Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, where I really broke down, kind of like the risk management and stuff behind my thesis here, which is really just based on, like I said, right around Easter, ETH did seem to bottom here. There was a confluence of levels right around 1400, thought that might be the bottom. And my target for this year is based on this red line going back to the highs just above Ed's head there, the highs at the end of 2017 intersecting with the highs of 2021. And that would put a price target on the linear y-axis of around 8,000. But if we do look at this on the log scale, that target would then be, ranging from, 10 to 20,000, just, whenever we hit it. But I do think that there is a lot of great potential still for Ethereum, for a lot of other cryptos, and of course, Bitcoin. And also, I think one of the things, maybe it's a good time to, check out the memes right now. One of the signals for me in thinking that Ethereum was bottoming back around Easter was how bearish everybody was. And I feel like everybody's starting to be really bearish again now that the bull market's over, that the cycle's ended. And yeah, so I think that that could be suggesting that the bottom is in or near for a lot of these. So I will be discussing that. And let's see, Worst Nightmare is saying in the chat that he holds most of these. So yeah, most of them, might be going to zero, but I don't think that they will. I'm just saying that, risk management perspective, whatever. But I don't think so. I think that a lot of them will do very well, if not by the end of 2025 into 2026. But yeah, here is the list. I'll be going over these. And one thing, actually, before I get into the list, I did want to mention kind of on the thumbnail, I included Harvey dip, like Two-Face. And so if we are seeing a dip right now, maybe it is a great dip buying opportunity with October now being down by 6%. Maybe that's near the bottom, and maybe we rally for the rest of the month. But maybe we do put in a negative October. That's always possible. If we do look down here, right next to me, right over there, we can see that in 2014, we were down nearly 13% in Bitcoin. So we could see a red October, and then, that could be followed by, green. You can see a little bit right there just behind me. It was about 13% up, that following November, but then down 15% in December. But yeah, we'll have to see where we end up going. But yeah, I'm just going to go through the list here. We're going to try to be a little more efficient than last week. I think I just have too many, levels that I'm considering for the weekly, and that just takes up time. And also, I just wanted to get on with the Saturday, so don't want to be spending more than 2 hours doing this. But yeah, let's begin with the first one on the list, which is, of course, Bitcoin, ticker symbol BTC. And so let's go over to populate the market cap real quick. And so just coming over here, Bitcoin number 1 on the list, as we'd expect. And the market cap is $2.1 trillion. I suspect a lot of these are going to be red from last week, which is, disappointing, because I've noticed that, it kind of oscillates between red and green, every other week, going back and forth. But last week, the market cap was around 2.2 trillion. Now it's around 2.1. But, this could just be, like I said, dip buying opportunity, stuff like that. I'm just going to remove the drawings for a second. So we could look at Friday's close. So on October 17th, Bitcoin closed. Let's see. This is, it wasn't pulling up the data up here for some reason. But yeah, let's look at that. So the close from yesterday was 106,463.30. So 106,463.30. And so it looks like with Bitcoin, I'm just making sure that I did get that correct. I am up still, but only by 9%. My average looks like it's just shy of 98,000. So that's something to keep in mind. That might actually be a level that we could be dipping to, right around 98,000. And last week, I was doing my daily $40 DCAs with Bitcoin, but then I hit my target for 2025, how much Bitcoin I wanted to hold. And so I was going to reduce it to $5 daily DCAs, but with Strike, the platform that I use for this, if I were to have adjusted it by more than half or more than doubling it, that $40, then I would be paying a 1% fee for 7 days. And so to avoid doing that, I just dropped my daily DCA to $20. And then with that, I had basically a remaining $80 for the week. And so I just decided, well, I'm going to place a dip buy order at 108, as you can see over here. That did get filled. And yeah, so I'm actually going to adjust that strategy, continuing with the $20 daily DCAs, but my dip strategy, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. So I'll talk about that with you guys as we get into it. But yeah, let's consider the numbers over here, just going over to the weeklies tab. And so we can see Bitcoin, I had that support would be at 108. I did have an additional level at 102, and I don't believe we've tested that yet, but we'll have to see. I think that might be the new number over here, since I think we are trading below 108. Yeah, 107, so 108's not really going to be support if we're below it now. But let's just see. So, I got this purple line here at 102, and so I think that needs to be the new support level here. And then I am going to, let's see, what am I going to do? I might place a dip buy there, but I might not. I'm going to think about it. And alerts, I need to place those. So I'm just going to make this yellow. And orders, I will need to place an order. So I'm going to make that yellow as well. And yeah, so let's just consider, other levels to the downside. Of course, there's going to be one around 100,000. And that's really just going to kind of correspond with the low from over here, June 5th. Let's see, the low, $100,377. And we did pierce it over here before going up. We could be retesting it again. Also, 100,000 is a psychological level. But then we also do have the low when we did pierce it. That was on June 22nd. The low was $98,225.01. So I might actually just put a line there. And let's see, I'll just have to adjust it up here. And let's see. Yeah, I'll do it to the penny. Yeah, so over here, so let's get those coordinates. And that's 98,225.01. 98,225.01. All right, so that's another level that we could be paying attention to. But hopefully we do reclaim 107. There's actually a moving average that I'll go over with you guys that's just above us right now, and we want to see the weekly close above that level. But yeah, I'm just going to add these other levels to the downside. Like if we dip more, 102, and then that also kind of teases those wanting to get fills at 100. Maybe they get left behind if 102 is the bottom. And so I'm going to do, let's see, a 100 over here, or yeah, 100 over here. And then I'm also going to do, let's see, I'll just copy that, a 98. So I think those are two levels that we might be finding as, support to the downside, but, also maybe not. And yeah, so I think that those are good. That's all I really want to do there. As far as, going to the upside, where could the target be? Since we're not at all-time highs, we're not in like blue sky territory right now, I'm just going to leave it at 135 for the time being. We can reassess later once, we're starting to get back into like the 120s and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's kind of it for Bitcoin, but I did want to go over, like I said, some moving averages over here. And let's see, and maybe I can delete this fib retracement. We clearly broke below that, unless, there's some interesting stuff around this 118. But yeah, I'm just going to delete that so there's not so much clutter. And I'm still going to leave the 118 that was the top over here, so that could be resistance in the future. Also, I do find it interesting that we did top, around October 13th, so on Monday, bumping into that orange trend line, which does go back to prior highs. So yeah, I find that to be neat. And you got the 50-day SMA right around 114, but that's actually what I wanted to adjust. There are a few levels, moving averages that we want to look at, and I unfortunately can't have multiple ones up at the same time because I'm not currently paying for TradingView, but I will probably get an annual subscription around Black Friday, so we'll have to look forward to that. But yeah, I'm just going to adjust this to the 200-day simple moving average, and we can see that that is below us. Oh, sorry, I meant 200-day. Oops. That's, actually, that's above us, 200 days. And I didn't get a fat finger that 2 to 5. But so let's see, what is that level at? It looks like 107, 635, or let's say, on Sunday, the Sunday close, we want to see Bitcoin close at or above around 107,600 or higher. And so that would be, ideal. We've got all these levels here. It looks like the yellow 107,700. So let's get a close Sunday above 107,700. That would be really good. But we can also look at another moving average that actually corresponds with this arrow that I doodled up there, I believe, yesterday during the stream. And that corresponds with let's see, I believe it's the 50-week moving average. And so how many days are in 50 weeks? That's approximately the annual average. But I'll just pull up the calculator here. So we can do, it's probably 35. Yeah, I'm just doing the mental math now. 7 times 20, 50. 50 is what I want to do. 7 times 50 is 350. Maybe I did this wrong. I'm kind of tired. I don't know if you can tell, but let's do 350 to get the 50-week moving average. It's just shy of, oh, actually, this is what I did. I don't need to do the math. I can just change this to 50, and then I'm going to change the time frame to week. And so we got the 50-week moving average. And so we can see that right around that arrow there. And so let's adjust this y-axis, and we can see going back over time that we did, hey, let's see, I'm not going to be taking any requests or anything, so, and actually, let's see, getting some spam in the chat, so let's see, so those should be hidden now. So hopefully that works. So there's no spam in the chat. new skill I just learned there. Very cool. Okay, cool. So Bitcoin over here, we can see that 50-week moving average in blue. We got some tests over it here in August of 2024 and let's see, September of 2024. Testing that acted as support. We also briefly broke below it over here in April 7th, around there of 2025, around Easter, around the Liberation Day, and that was a great dip buying opportunity. And so now, yeah, they worst nightmare. They disappeared because I hid them from the channel, so I didn't block them, so they should still be able to watch. But sometimes, especially with crypto videos, I do get some spam in the comments, and so I pick out keywords that they use, so if they use them, then they can't comment. But yeah, then coming back here to that blue, I'm actually going to remove my drawings for a second. Oh, then it removes the arrow. That blue 50-week moving average is coming up. That's right around 101. And so if we do dip to around 100,000, I think there's going to be a lot of panic. I think people are going to be saying, the bull market's over, all this stuff. Historically, that has been, a good dip buying level. Although, if we do start to trade below it, not just a couple candles below or, getting a weekly close below, then, that could be like bear market territory like over here, but we're not seeing that just yet. And there's one other thing that I think I accidentally discovered yesterday. Looking at this, you see this yellow trend line? Let's look at this on the log scale, and we can see that we are bumping into that yellow trend line. That was actually the low that we hit on Friday, October 17th, so yesterday. That's crazy. Well, yeah, that was, kind of like pre-market lows. I was getting ready for work, and so the low is around $103,500. And if we look back in time, that trend line does intersect over here, March of 2024. And then, we got kind of blow off tops here relative to that line in 2021. And let's see, that goes back to the highs from, December of 2017. So maybe that's something, maybe it's nothing. We did, kind of move around that line quite a bit. But, I do think that we are getting close to, if not are at, support right around 100,000. I think that's going to be a tough level to break below, and if we do break below it, I think that those would be dip buying opportunities, but I of course could be wrong about that, so do take that all with a grain of salt. And so now I'm just gonna pull up this over here. I've got that laid out 102. I think for me, because my let's see, I'm just thinking I'll do 102. And then if 102 does get hit, then I'll probably place an order at 100,000 and then also another order at, let's see, 98,000. And hey, what's up, hot stocks? I'm not doing any stocks this morning, just doing cryptos, the 20 that are in this list. But yeah, you can hang out if you like, share some ideas in the chat. But yeah, I'm just going to be focusing on this. And so my daily DCAs, this is going to be changed to 20. Because I've hit my stack level that I want. And then I'm going to do a $100 dip buy. And the reason why I'm going to do a $100 dip buy, I'll share in just a second. But let's see. I want to make these, some of them white. I want to make the $20 one white because I do have that order placed. But the 100, I do need to place that. So I'm going to make it yellow just so I'm aware that I need to do that. And so that's there. And I was thinking about this, and this might actually be something that I do with Doge. As you notice, I didn't buy over here. And let's see. Okay, so the $20 DCA, daily DCA, and then I am going to do the $100 dip buy, actually with Coinbase. And the reason for that is because the USDC that I hold in Coinbase, I earn 4.1% APY on that. So if I just have a limit buy order placed for $100 in Coinbase, I'm earning interest on that. If it gets filled, great. If it doesn't get filled, great, because I'm earning interest. Whereas if I were to have that dip buy in Strike, I wouldn't be earning interest on it. It'd just be sitting there. And, so I don't really want that. And, there might be some more fees with Coinbase versus Strike. I'm not exactly sure of that difference. But, either way, if I'm waiting for a dip to get filled, I'm going to be getting a discount. So I think that's a good way to go with that. But yeah, that's going to be for my $100 dip buy. And then let's continue on to the next one on the list. That's going to be Ethereum, ticker symbol ETH. So let's go over and populate the market cap. And so Ethereum, as always, ranked number 2, just shy of $500 billion. It's actually gotten a little bit lower, but I'd be curious if this actually isn't red for the week, but I suspect it will be. Hey, I was just noting, looking at the charts prior to this, that Ethereum didn't really go down as much. And so if we do look at the market cap for Ethereum from last week, it was around 461 billion, and now it's at 467 billion. So Ethereum has actually gone up. So it's been holding up relatively well, relative to Bitcoin. So that is great to see. And then just looking at the Ethereum data here, this is from Coinbase. I'll go over the other chart in a second as well, but we just want to get the closing price here from October 17th, and so it's going to be 383299. So 383299. And this, I was thinking this might go down. But yeah, looking at that, my average with my $40 daily DCAs is around 2,700. Looks like I'm up about 40%. I was up nearly 100% maybe a month or two ago, but that's just how it goes. It's still in the green, so not sweating it. And spoiler alert, I'm just going to continue to do the $40 daily DCA. So I'm going to make that white. I don't need to do anything with it. Just leave it alone. It's all good. And let's talk about, the support levels, the resistance levels that I saw from last week. Support level being 3,800. We're right around there. So potentially, holding that, that's very good. And the next resistance that I had marked in there is 5,700. And so we'll have to look at that on the chart and also update the numbers here if there's anything for me to do there. And so, looking at Ethereum. And actually, before I dive into this Coinbase chart here, that's, got this channel that we've been trading, it makes me feel like, this is a bull flag, so I'm not really sweating it too much. But this over here, this is, my thesis renewal. We had, these levels here, and I'm actually, maybe what I want to do, I'm going to leave that, but I might draw this as a ray with some specific pivot points. And maybe that would be, it's a little bit steeper, or a little bit less steep. The grade is less steep. So I'm just going to see about, it's just the high over here and the low over here. So let's just click on that line, lock it in place, and then just adjust those coordinates. So the first one over here on May 13th, the high was 27389, 27389. And then over here, the low was 33559. So let's do that. 33559. And there's that. I'm just going to make sure that's correct. Looks good. Okay, so with that, we can see that line, it's, all basically the same. So there's some, some wiggle room with that. But either way, we've had multiple closes below both of those trend lines, currently below both of those trend lines. So, we'll have to see, are we able to reclaim it? So that will be very interesting. But generally, I think that this is dip buying territory. Of course, could be wrong, but that's, just what I'm doing. And I'm not even really dip buying Ethereum. I'm just doing the daily DCA. So it doesn't matter to me. I think that it could very feasibly be hitting 8,000. And so just looking at the chart over here, what are some of the levels? So we did hit a low on October 10th of 3510. And so one thing that I kind of want to do, I'm getting like super cluttered over here with all of these numbers. And by the way, Bitcoin, it's all red up here because I'm not placing any orders. I'm not, or actually, no, considering placing orders. So I should make these two orange, actually. So let's do that. And, for Ethereum, I've got 35, 36. Why do I need that? Why do I need to have so many numbers here? I actually need to clean that up. And so support over here, 38, we're still trading around there. So I still think that that could be acting as support. So I'm not sweating it, not worrying about it. But then over here, I think that, 35 may not be getting filled, because if we do look, that low was at 35.10 and 0 cents. 35 wouldn't have been filled. 35.10 wouldn't have even been filled because of spreads. So I think that's kind of why I'd want to have 36. But I guess we did. Let's see, what was the low yesterday on the 17th? That was 36.73.64. So just a little bit lower than $3,700, not quite to $3,600. So I might actually just delete that level just to clean it up, because I think that, effectively what we're seeing in the chart, if I just remove my drawings, we're seeing higher lows here, so that's looking good. And so if this low was just above 35 and this low was above 36, I would not expect this to go to 36. Or if we did, I think we'd probably be sweeping the lows, and then 35 would act as support. So I'm going to adjust that over here to that. And then these levels to the upside, I've got too many of them. And so let's just consider them. 5,000, of course. I have 5,700. Why do I have 5,700? I guess because, 5,000's already acted as resistance effectively. We hit a high on August 24th of $4,955.90. We have all of this time consolidating. And then so when we do break above 5,000, I think we're really going to launch above 5,000. So that's why I would think a conservative target would be 5,700. And I believe I'd probably have a Fibonacci extension to that. And that is still locked into place. That's got to still be to that low that we hit, which was 35.10 right there. So that looks spot on. That target is the 618 Fibonacci extension. So like I said, fairly conservative. The next one would then be the 786 at 6,300. And thinking about this psychologically, if we bump into resistance at 5,000 or $5 away from getting there or something like that, I forget. But I think, let's see, the high was, no, not $5, like a $44, $44.10 away. The high was $4,955.90. We get nearly to 5,000, we get rejected. So people are going to see, oh, well, if we nearly got to 5,000 but got rejected, same thing's probably going to happen at 6,000. But then we blow past to 6,300, and then people say, hey, this is going to continue to go. Buy at 6,300, and then it pulls back to sub 6,000. So that makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm going to delete this 6,000 level there. I don't think that's going to be useful. And then let's see, what's the 100% at? That's right around 7,000. Maybe then, because we blew past 6,000 at that point, maybe 7,000 actually ends up as resistance. Maybe we don't get exactly to it. And just below 7,000 is 6,900. So I'm going to leave that level. That's kind of fun. And then I got my targets of 8,000, 10,000, and potentially beyond. And, I'm not placing any orders there, but I do have alerts. I need to have alerts for those yellow ones. So yeah, what's my rule here for the alerts? Because I kind of need to clean them up. Not placing orders. And, I guess, yeah, not placing orders, but we'll have alerts. I guess alerts to the downside, and the yellow would be for alerts over there, 8,000 and 10,000. Need to have. So yeah, I think that's it for Ethereum. I do need to adjust the alerts just to delete them. And my orders are placed with the $40 daily DCA. Excuse me, with that little yawn or whatever it was. But yeah, I'm just going to have a sip of coffee and then I'll continue on. And hot stocks, I don't know if you're still there, but I do see that you're saying good morning. So I just had a sip of coffee, but cheers to you. And then a BTC long. Yeah, so that's the first one that I went over. If you missed it, I'd encourage you to go back, check that out. But yeah, I think that Bitcoin could be coming down to as low as I'd say 98,000. And if it does, I would think that'd be a really great dip buying opportunity, but it also could be getting towards the signal that we're entering a bear market. So it's kind of like teetering. Is this a discount or is this the beginning of a series of dips that lasts a really long time? And yeah, so I'm just going to come back over here to look at, iExec, ticker symbol RLC. This did flip Doge. I decided to not add $200 to Doge. I'll get into that when I go over Doge. But yeah, just don't want to be, chasing too much on the downside. Just going to leave a limit order there. But yeah, anyways, let's get to the next one, which is iExec, ticker symbol RLC. Let's populate the market cap there. This is definitely the most risky one on my list because, it's ranked down here just above Ed's head there at 388. However, when I first started doing these videos, Crypto Corner Sat Stackers, this was in the 400s. And so now it's not, but yeah, let's just copy this number just shy of $75,000. It's possible that this went up last week, but it's also possible that it didn't. It did go up. It rounds to 75 million. If I said thousand, I meant million. Sorry. Yeah, if we look at this from last week, RLC was 74 million. Now it's at 75 million. So that is, good. Maybe it's found a bottom. But yeah, then let's check out the price for RLC. Third on the list, kind of disgraceful to be seeing that it's above Doge, but it is what it is. And what we can see here, this is, linear, and I might just fit that here. Oh, and I didn't talk about the 50-day closing moving average with Ethereum. Hopefully that's not a big deal, but I'm just going to switch this back to the days so we're not missing out. You can see RLC, we are below that. And we did close yesterday, Friday, October 17th, at a price of 86.62 cents. So 86.62 cents. Did come down. I'm down 40% in my position, and I did add. Typically, I just do a $100 dip buy, but I did two of those $200 dip buys, or two $100 dip buys, and I have a third order placed, but that didn't get filled. And just to note that my average is $1.42 with it trading at like 87 cents. Not looking so great, but it is what it is. And, I want to be getting my average down so I can really trim out aggressively. And so if we do go over to the weeklies just to see, there's a dip level at 86 cents. And so that did get filled. And then I had another dip level at 79 cents. That was also filled. And then I do have an order placed at 56 cents, which was not filled. And then so I'm going to add that over here as support. Because that would be the next level that, I would want to be dip buying at. But let's just consider, why did I pick those levels? So we can see 79 over here. That looks like it was like the consolidation lows. We got some, multiple wicks to that level. And so it was nice to get a little dip there, which probably would have been on Saturday. So right after recording this, I placed an order. I guess that would have been last week, is it? Yeah. It's very confusing to know what date it is. Time moves so quickly. But yeah, October 11th would have gotten a fill there. And the next level to the downside. Oh, and I guess I should say why 86 and the next level at 56. So why 86? That, I was imagining that would be the close over here from Friday the 10th. That was at 86.76 cents. So I was thinking, pierce to that, 86, get a fill. Then my next level will be 79 cents. And then why did I pick 56 cents? I imagine that's the low from Saturday. Actually, no, that has to be a historical level. So let's go back in time. 56, you see that yellow down there. And so that's over here. That was the lows from June of 2022. And so maybe we could be going back there. And, that's when I would want to add more. I don't want to be exposing myself to more risk in this, and that it's, third on my list. I've got more exposure to this than I probably should. So with that being said, and maybe, I go a couple of weeks not doing so many aggressive buys, then, I would consider, buying the dips if this is below 100 or $1, something like that. But I'm just going to change this 86 to 56, and I'm going to make that white. And let's see. And then over here, I'm going to delete the 56. Ooh, actually, no, what I should do is I should leave this at 79 because it was support over here. And if we do break lower, we are at 86. So actually, maybe what I want to do is consider that we are forming higher lows. So we've got the low on October 11th, 76.08. Then the low from yesterday, the 17th, at 80.33. And with that, just a casual little trend line here, we're putting in higher lows. So that's good. Maybe we break them. Maybe we sweep 79. But for right now, 86 seems like where we're at. It is potentially acting as support, but that doesn't mean I'm going to place an order there. So I'm going to make this one red, not placing an order. 56, I do have an order placed, so that's white, so that's great. But then 79, I think that could also be support, but I'm not going to place an order there. And so I'm going to leave that as red, or change that to red, I should say. And then consider these levels to the upside. 186, 190, 194. Those are levels that I plan on trimming out at, and including 180. So part of the reason why I don't want to be aggressively buying RLC this week is because I already have my limit orders placed for basically all of my RLC, each one of these levels representing effectively a quarter of my position, and then I would have a remainder of $100 exposure, $100 risk still in RLC. That would be like my moon bag. And so I want to be moving RLC down this list, and so ones that I have more conviction in can move higher rather than lower. Like Doge moved lower, I want Doge to be above RLC. I will also want Solana to be above Doge, and so I'm not going to be getting there if I'm just like adding constantly to these ones I'm holding the bags on. But yeah, those are levels that I'm going to trim at, so I'm not going to change those. And I did go over them last week if you do want to find out why I picked those levels. But yeah, let's just see. So coming back over to the chart here, I do think that like 95, 100, or a dollar, I think that those could be some levels of resistance. But my average, like I said, 142. So I wouldn't be wanting to sell or trim at those levels. And then also 111 or 112. That looks like it's the 50-day SMA. And yeah, really like highs over here getting close to $2, but I'd be trimmed out before $2, so that would be fine. And my moon bag level, I guess, would be $3 according to this. So what I'm going to do over here, I've got $200 marked there. I also do have a $100 dip level. I already have the order placed, and so I'm going to leave that as white. That's already set. Don't need to worry about it, so that's all good there. Sorry about that thump. And so now, let's continue on to the next one on the list, which is going to be Dogecoin, ticker symbol DOGE or Doge. Let's check out what the market cap is for that one. Higher up on the list, ranked number 9 above Cardano, pretty crazy, and not too far below Solana. But the market cap for Doge is around 28 billion, and I think that there is a fun number in this number over here. So it rounded up, but it's 420.7. But anyways, $28.421 billion. And last week it was around 28.8. So it did come down a little bit. So that's unfortunate, but that's fine. And let's then see what the price is. Just going to remove the drawings for a second. Look at that crazy wick down there. Dang. Man. So the close from yesterday, October 17th, was at 1842. So 1842. Looks like I'm about break even, just 1% in the green on that. So, this is kind of why I have an order placed to buy, at 15 cents for Doge via Robinhood. I'm actually going to change that though. So I'll talk about that. I'll explain my thought process with that in a minute. But, why did I pick 15 cents? If we're trading, around 18, 19 cents. And so the reason for that is, we had this massive wick down, came to a low of 9.64 cents via Coinbase data, or this is actually Binance data. And actually, fun thing I might do. Let's just pull up Doge. Let's see, maybe there'll be a little dancing Doge for us. There will not be. Sometimes there's a little dancing Doge, but I guess not. Oh well. So I'll come back over to here. And yeah, what was I saying? Basically, why 15 cents? That's going to be this yellow line here at 1432. I think I get a fill at 15 cents. And that kind of corresponds with the lows over here. Basically, the low on March 11th was 1432, acted as support in April, got tested again over here June 22nd. And so I think that, with just this wick down here, I don't know how many orders were filled down here, but right above it, I think 15 cents would get filled. So that's why I see that as a level of support, 15 cents. And, I do have the $200 order placed here to buy however many coins that would be at 15 cents, but that's via Robinhood. With Robinhood, I don't have gold, so I'm not getting any APY for my cash that's just sitting there with that limit order. And so what I think I should do, just like with Bitcoin, I'm going to do a limit dip buy for 200 via Coinbase. So then if that gets filled, great. I get some cheap Doge. I get my average down. That's awesome. But if it doesn't get filled, then I just have cash sitting, earning 4.1% in Coinbase via USDC. So I think that's good. So I'm going to adjust that, and that would be $200. So then I then can move Doge above, where RLC has moved RLC down, unless, RLC, I do get my limit cells filled, then I maybe wouldn't want to do $200 dip buy with Doge. But, for now, I'm going to do that. And so let's just look over at the levels over here. So 115, going to leave that alone. And, for RLC, leaving all of that stuff alone. Don't need to do anything there. But yeah, for Doge, what are the levels? So 15 cents, currently trading at like 18. What actually, got this massive wick down here, but that's going to screw up, everything, because how much of that was real? That was just leverage, people getting pushed out of their positions, whatnot. So let's just consider the lows for the days following. So on October 11th, the low was 1781. That's great. And then the low over here on the 17th was 1752. And so that's a lower low. I could see maybe we come down to 17. So I would say I should probably change this to 17 cents based on that. Going to make it red because I'm not placing an order. And then the 24, that's below us. Or that's above us. So that could be, a level of resistance to the upside corresponding with the 50-day simple moving average right there. So I think that's a good one to have up there. But a level to the downside is going to be, 15 cents. And that is one that actually I need to make that yellow because I need to cancel it on Robinhood. Oops. And then place it on Coinbase. So 15 cents there, then 24.42. Don't plan on trimming there. But then these that are in orange, I would consider placing orders and yellow 98. That's probably where I'd want to take out the majority of my position just before 1 to kind of front run those who have limit orders placed at 1. And then, or limit sells, I should say. But then if we do break above 1, or maybe we break above it, then maybe we pull back, retest it, then maybe I want to re-enter there. But still have some moon bags to, trim higher. But yeah, let's see, resistance 31. I should probably adjust that to, the next level over here, which would be 24 cents. So 24 cents I could see acting as resistance. And then let's just see, do I want to adjust this 24 to 31, or does 31 not seem as important anymore? It does. We got this line here, and just note we do have this channel that we've been trading in, uptrending channel. Broke to the downside. Does look like we're really testing the bottom there. So this could be a dip buying opportunity, or we could see, a flush down to like 14 or 15 cents. And then maybe that's the opportunity before we go higher. But I guess, I should also note the lows over here. So it was, 9 or 10 cents. So I should probably, let's see, with Doge, I have 15 there. I should also, have 10 cents. And that is one that, I would consider placing an order there. So I'm going to make that orange. Then 15 cents, 24 over here. I'm going to change that 24 to 31. And yeah, I think that those are all fine. But the 42 actually, 42, what's that correspond with? I don't have anything up on the chart. That's just, kind of a silly number. So I'm going to delete the 42 cents just so I don't have so many levels there. 53. That corresponds with, the highs, the fib extension here, but maybe, nope, I did extend that down here. So 53 cents, 69 cents. That's the level that I would trim at just because that's fun. 80 cents. Let's take a step back. Where does that come from? 80 cents. Oh, I think 69 was that the, blow off top here, so 69 cents. And then we do have the 1618 there at 80 cents. So that's why I have those levels. So there is meaning there. And then 98 is really just, preemptively trimming before the psychological level of $1. So yeah, that's kind of my take on Doge. And so, I would not want to be buying until, 15 cents. Otherwise, I'm just going to chill. And so, yeah, there is that. So I'll continue on with the next one in just a second. I'm going to have another sip of coffee real quick. And just to follow that with some water. Partly to stay hydrated, and also because when you drink coffee, it can stain your teeth a little bit. So having some water right after doesn't stain your teeth as bad. I just went to the dentist recently, and that's what they were saying. It's like, well, it's also a good way to stay hydrated, so I approve. But yeah, dentists, I don't know if any of you guys are dentists, but, it's like you get obsessed with your profession, and it's the person who was cleaning my teeth was very, going on about a bunch of stuff. It's like, oh, okay. But yeah, anyways, let's go on to Loopring, ticker symbol LRC, and, let's populate that market cap data. And so LRC also very risky down on the list, 333 here. So maybe that's good luck. But yeah, it's right around $94 million. So let's populate that here. 94 million. So it did come down from last week when it was 95 million. And excuse me, let's see the price. Yeah, so the closing price from yesterday, so from Friday. And let's do this and just zoom in. And so let's switch over to LRC. Remove the drawings just for a second. Excuse me. We can see the close from yesterday on the 17th was at 6.84 cents. And that, came down. I'm down 23% in my position. My average is around just shy of 9 cents. And I did do just like with RLC, 2 $100 dip buys on Coinbase. And so right now I do have, just like RLC, I have a $100 dip buy already placed because I was going to do 300. I adjusted that down to, well, I placed the orders and only 2 of them got filled. And yeah, so let's consider, LRC, I had 7 cents. We're right around 7 cents, that potentially acting as support. So that does seem right. But then there were some dips below there. I did get filled a little bit lower. So let's look at those other levels. And so right here, so LRC, like I said, 7 cents. And let's see, the other level that I had was 7 cents. I want to say 66 cents, but 6.6 cents over here. That did get filled, but then my 5.2 cents did not get filled. Why did I pick those levels? So before I throw the drawings up, just want to see what was the low over here on October 10th. It was 50 cents, or sorry, not 50 cents, 5 cents. So 55.2 cents would get filled there. So that's part of the reason why I have that here. And then like the consolidation lows here, that's around 6 to 7 cents, but why did I pick those? So let's throw up the drawings. I got this yellow line at like 6.6 cents. That did get filled. And that does seem like, it might really be, some notable support. And that actually goes back to the low from June 22nd. That was at 6.58 cents. And that seems like, I don't know if it's the all-time low, but a notable, yeah, it's not the all-time low. This is the all-time low now, if that is the all-time low. But yeah, that low over there was tested. We have been holding it as support, so 6.6 cents, just below 7. So I'm actually going to adjust this from 7 cents to 6.6. So I'm just going to round that up, down, round that to the next decimal place. And I'm not going to place an order there because I already got one filled. And with that being, over here, I can omit that one. And then I do have the order still placed at 5.2 cents. I'm probably not going to adjust the levels to the upside. Those are my levels that I want to trim out at, beginning at 9.3 cents, then 10, 11, and 12 cents. That would each be about a quarter of my position, leaving about $100 left in there as like a moon bag to hold up to around 30 cents, something like that. But yeah, let's just come back to the chart and see some of these levels. And, with this 382, this is a Fibonacci retracement from here coming down to there. I could add the 236. We're right around there. I'm just going to make that purple. And so confluence of levels, So I feel fine about that, but we could be sweeping the lows over here, 5.2 cents. So I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to wait for that. And then levels to the upside, 9.3 cents. What's the moving average at? That's around 8.9 cents, so a little bit lower. But then, 9.3, that's the 618 here. So that's why I would have that there. And then 10 cents, just being kind of psychological, then 1042. And up to here around 11 and 12. So really just getting up to the highs here. That's where I would want to be trimming out at pretty aggressively, just to be lowering the risk. Moving these more speculative coins down the list, exposing myself to less risk. So yeah, that's that. And I guess 30, why do I have 30 on there? That's, highs over here around 32. Be happy with a fill at 30 cents. And so there is that. And so coming back over to here, let's go over to the next one, which is Ondo, ticker symbol ONDO. And let's check out the market cap for that one. Right here, ranked number 43, about $2.2 billion market cap. And we can see, this is down from last week. Last week it was about 2.4 billion, and now it's about 2.5. And now let's check out the price for Ondo. Sorry, I just keep having to clear my throat and stuff. I think just waking up, being tired, whatnot. So October 17th, the close was 74.75. So 74.75 right there, down about 25%, sorry, 20% in my position. My average is 89 cents. And so a little bit lower. I could, get my average down, but I'm going to try to be a little bit, on the sidelines this week. And, no dip buys with, Ondo. That's pretty high up on this list. And, I want some other ones to catch up to it. So I'm not going to be doing any DCAing with that, but we can still talk about some of the levels that I have marked over here. Let's just go over to the weeklies tab so we can see those. So, 74 cents. Why did I pick that? And actually, where do we close it? Actually, 70. So, not, we're below that now. Did have 66 here. So maybe that's something. But yeah, looking at Ondo, 66, that green line. What was the low from yesterday on the 17th? 66.511 cents. And then the low over here on the 10th was 58 cents. So I got 58 cents right here and 66 cents. I feel like, where we're at now, 70 cents. Could be acting as support, but maybe we do go, higher lows. So if the low over here was 66.5 cents, I think that 70 cents is actually probably, a reasonable level of support, like right around where we're at now. So I'm going to adjust that there, but I'm not going to place any orders. And let's see, 66, I still think that's, approximate, valid level. And then 58 cents here. And probably have 60 cents, but that's, I imagine, just arbitrary. I don't really see anything here that would correspond with that. So I'm going to omit the 60 cents, and that would just be like maybe 58 cents. An order wouldn't get filled there, but at 60 cents it would. So, that's kind of why I'd have that there. And, 142, 169, those are kind of stupid numbers. For me, those are numbers, the levels that I would, trim at, but I don't have orders placed there. So I want to have alerts there, and I can just kind of track those. But yeah, I also do have a resistance level at 112. Let's see if that's changed at all, but that's really just like the highs over here. And that also seems to correspond with the 100% Fibonacci extension. So the distance from here to here, taken from this recent low that we had on the 10th, going up to around 112. So I still feel like that's a good level of resistance, but we also do have the 50-day moving average right around 92 cents. So that could be another level to consider there. And, I really don't want to be adding tons of clutter here to that list. And so that's, let's see. This is a retracement to the downside. I might just delete that so we don't have so much clutter on the chart. And, like 92 cents. I could see that, but I should probably change this to 92 cents. And let's see, I want to have a level at, I'll do it like this, 112. I think that could be some resistance, and maybe that would actually be a good level to trim at. And so I might, do this one as orange to consider, because, then it's just, swinging. And so with that being said, maybe I'd consider adding at 58 cents. No orders placed, but I will want to place some alerts corresponding, yellow levels to the upside. I could really just start with the 142 and, so I don't get overwhelmed by alerts, because I kind of did last week. But, 92, that doesn't really matter too much to me. I'm not going to place an order there. But 112, actually, if we go up to 92, maybe I want to do, if that gets hit, then maybe I want to consider placing a limit order trim at 112. Or if we go down to 58 cents, maybe I want to have an alert here at 66 cents. We go down to there and maybe place the limit buy at 58. I don't know. Just thinking about it, thinking out loud. And yeah, $2 right over here. That was the highs at the end of 2024. And so that would be new highs. So that could be notable levels of resistance. Want to trim out there. But I'd probably have a moon bag beyond $2 to see the blue sky territory, the new all-time high, see if we can hit some of those. But anyways, let's go on to the next one, which is going to be Solana, ticker symbol SOL. And let's check out the market cap there. And Solana ranked at number 6. XRP's moved down, so I believe I guess I'll talk about that when I go over XRP, but Solana is number 6 in the ranking at $100.5 billion. And I imagine that, that went up. I was going to say I imagine that went down, but I guess it went up. So Solana was just shy of 100 billion last week. Now it's just above 100 billion. And so let's check out the price of Solana. Zooming into the chart, removing those drawings so we're not distracted. And the close from yesterday, October 17th, was at 182.05. So 182.05. And with that one, interesting, I'm actually negative now, negative 4%. And let's see, actually, what was I last week? I was Solana, I was at break even. So I've come down a little bit. It's no big deal. And I have been DCAing every single day, 1427. And so why 1427? Because if we do daily DCAs of 1427, 7 days a week, that equals about $100 per week. However, I think that I'm kind of running close to being lower than the, I'd have to round, I think I'm getting close to having to round up to the nearest 100 for my position. And so I don't want to do that. I only want to be rounding down to the nearest 100. So I might up that to 1427 times 7. 96. I'm actually, I think I can do 1428 this week. And actually, let's just see what this is like. I think I might actually do 1429. Yeah, let's do 1429. And that is not placed because I've got 1427 placed. So I'm going to need to adjust that. So I've got that in yellow. But then now I've got that all out of the way. Let's consider some of the levels. So level of support, I have 174 that is below us. So that is potentially good. And then some resistance to the upside. So let's consider those levels. And it's coming back over to the chart. So we got the low over here from the 10th, which actually, on the 11th, or the 11th, on the 10th, Solana hit a low of 176.85 and then went lower to a low of 172.78. And so that has thus far been the low. I do have the level at 174. And so let's just see where the drawings are. 174, it looks like that corresponds with this Fibonacci retracement. And yeah, if we don't hold 174, I think 155 would be the next level to the downside. Or actually, maybe I should round that up to 156. And so let's leave 174. No, that is below us. Yeah. What was I saying over here? 174. 174. Oh, that was the closing price from yesterday. It was 182. Yeah, okay. I'm talking about the lows, 174. So yeah, 174, still potentially the lows. So I'm going to leave that there. But then I probably want to add 156 in case we break 174. 156, I think, would be the next level. So I'm just going to add that 156 right there. And I'm going to make that red. because yeah, I'm not planning on placing an order there because I'm doing the daily DCAs. And the reason why I want to be continuing to add to Solana is because I want it to move up in the rankings here. I actually want Solana to be my number 3. And that's kind of why I didn't add to Doge, because, if anything, I should be adding more aggressively to Solana. And so just doing the, 14, 29, whatever it is, daily DCAs, Solana is eventually going to move up. Next week, it might dethrone or surpass Ondo. We'll have to see. I'm not exactly sure about that. But yeah, then these levels to the upside, I guess these are levels that I would just trim at. 300, I think that'd be getting to new all-time highs. And yeah, I would have gone over those in prior videos. I have been streaming for more than an hour, so I'm not going to dive deeper into that. I guess I do need to adjust the order here for that, and also with Doge. So just highlighting those so I know I need to be paying attention to them. But yeah, mainly it's just adjusting alerts. And yeah, so let's see. Let's just come back to this. We got the 50 SMA, just noting that's around the 236, around 216. So I think that could actually be some resistance to the upside. So not 260, but 216. But, I mean, that's something. So, I should probably adjust this here, and then I would add 260 over here. Oops. So there we go. So there's some information on Solana, hopefully helpful. And Solana did dethrone the next one on the list, or did surpass it, I should say, which is one that I wish I had exited at break even. I nearly did that, but it is what it is. And that is Ethereum Classic, ticker symbol ETC. So let's check out the market cap for this one. And that is ranked number 40 on the list with a market cap of just shy of $2.4 billion. And we can see that went up over last week. So maybe that could be suggesting the bottom's in or near, but, just shy of 2.4. And now it's, again, just shy of 2.4. So it's been kind of flat over the past week. We can see if we check out the chart that it did close Friday the 17th at 1536. 1536. So that's not looking so good. I am down 29% in my position. I'm not going to add any more to this because, I should have GTFO'd or at least gotten my position exposure to around $100. So if I am holding some, I'm not sweating it. And, my orders were not filled. I didn't accept, I trimmed at 10% profit, I believe. I should have exited all of it, or, but I didn't. And, I do have orders placed to incrementally trim out. So that's also partly why I don't want to be adding buy orders. I'm just going to, set it and forget it. And so that's what I've got going on with ETC. Support level, I had noted as 15, and we are currently right around there. Resistance right around 18. So let's just look at those levels, update them based on the chart. Currently above 15, so that's looking good. And we do have the low over here on the 10th of 1194, so right around 12. So 1269, I have that there. But I don't think I need to be getting, too crazy with the numbers there. So I'm actually just going to adjust that to 12. Don't need all that there. And, 20 being psychological, but also corresponding with the 50 SMA. So I think that's a good level of resistance there. 18. Why do I pick 18? That's going to correspond with like this trend line that I have drawn there, being kind of approximate, but that also does seem to correspond with the 618. That was support over here. Could be resistance again. So yeah, I do think that 18 is good, just below that moving average, and maybe we wick above, get rejected. So that's why it's E20. And then I want to trim out aggressively at these levels. My average, I believe, is 21.61. If we flip over here, my average is actually 21.48. So that's interesting. Maybe I'd actually want to adjust this to 21.48. I'm just going to leave it at 21.61. I'm not sweating it. Yeah, but 21.61, is there a reason for that? Is there a 21 something that stand out to me? What's the highs over here? 21.20, so that's still below my average. This is 22. The highs over here on September 13th. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that. Just going to leave those levels. Not going to do anything over here. And yeah, miraculously, I don't think I have to adjust. Oh, no. I think for all of them, I kind of need to adjust alerts because I just have too many going on. So I'm actually going to note that for Doge as well, that I want to adjust the alerts. I just having so many alerts go off over the past week. It's like I need to be a little bit more selective. And so it is possible, I guess I should note that I might be adjusting some of these after the stream over the course of the week, just so this is not such an overwhelming list that we have over here. But I did shrink it a little bit this week, so that's good. But yeah, 12 for ETC. But yeah, then let's go on to the next one on the list. This one, overtook Cardano, and that is going to be, excuse me, sorry, I probably should have muted. I'm actually going to mute, clear my throat, drink some water, 1 second. Think I should be all good there. But yeah, the next one on the list is going to be Fartcoin, ticker symbol Fartcoin. And let's check out the market cap for that one. Fartcoin is ranked 130, no longer in the top 100. If it was in the top 100, I can't remember. But that's a market cap of 366 million, is it? And that did come down from last week, which was at 369. And so let's just check out the price for Fartcoin. And, this has been kind of flat over the past week, kind of boring. And we can see the close from October 17th was at 36.36. Down 38% on that. I did have a limit buy order filled at $100. I did place one other additional $100 dip buy, which was not filled. And I wanted to place another dip buy, but I actually wasn't able to because it was too far away from the current price. So what I should note here is I'm going to do 200. I've got two levels picked out that I'd like to place an order. One of them is placed, but the other one I can't just because price needs to go lower for that to happen. But yeah, I mentioned this, 38% down. My average is around 58 cents, below 69 cents. And so my level where I think this will be finding some resistance, because I've talked about it so much before, what was potentially prior support at 69 cents, I think that's going to be flipped to resistance. But then what are the levels that I had marked to the downside? So 36.9 cents, that was filled, and we are currently trading right around there, 36.55 cents. But then what are the other levels to the downside? One of them, and actually I need to adjust the, let's see. Oh, yeah, so the other one to the downside is 20 cents. Why did I pick that? So what was the low over here? Oh my gosh, this is insane. So 20 cents, that's going to be associated with a level. I assume the lows over here, that's like 34 cents. How did I get 20 cents? I guess that would be like the lows over here. The lows from March 10th, 1988. So that's why I would pick 20 cents. I'm just going to draw it up here so I'm not having to discover this next week. But yeah, horizontal ray going to the lows here. Like I said, 1988, almost the exact right level. I just need to add an 8 to the end of it. And so, yep, that's where I could see price coming down to. And we did pierce it, so that seems like a reasonable level, 20 cents. I have a limit dip buy order placed there for $100. And I do want to place another dip buy at 6.9 cents. And that's because of the insane lows that we saw on Friday, October 10th at 3.01 cents. I don't think orders would get filled there, so that's why I'm moving it up a little bit. But, take advantage of that dip if it does happen. But I just can't place an order there. It's just too low right now. But so with that being said, I think that where we're currently at could be acting as support. But let's see, that's really just going to be based on like the close from right here. That would be on the 11th, and that closing price was at 34.53. So I'm just going to adjust that to 34.53. And so I think that, 35, let's just round that up. 35 cents could be acting as some support. So I'm going to note that there. I am going to round that down. And 35 cents, or I guess that's rounding it up. Yeah, or it's not rounding it because it's just 35. I'm just going to only show 2 decimal places there. That's how I should phrase it. So 35 cents, I don't plan on buying there, so I'm going to make that red. But I would plan on dip buying at 20 cents. That's why it's white over there. I do have an order placed, and then also at 6.9 cents, as I had just discussed. Alerts, let's see. I don't think I need to mess with the Coinbase alerts because everything's kind of placed there, so I'm not going to mess with those. And then let's see, levels to the upside that could be acting as resistance. The 50-day moving average, the blue line there is right around 67, 68 cents. So maybe we get a wick through it to 69. I think that could be acting as resistance. So I'm going to leave that there. I've got some limit sells to trim the majority of my position there, but leaving, $100 moon bag to get up to 420, which in all honesty is just a joke. But it's just like I'd want to have a moon bag to see, where it could go just for fun. That's why I have 420 there. But yeah, 69 cents. I think that's probably going to flip to resistance. And then, 165 up here could be as well. But I'm not going to get too crazy with levels there. I think that's fine. And yeah, so I think that's Fartcoin. Yeah, so done that. That's placed or waiting to be placed. Might get a $100 fill next week. We'll see. Yeah, let's go on to the next one on the list, which is going to be Cardano, ticker symbol ADA. And let's check out the market cap for Cardano. I believe it's ranked number 10. I was going to say 11, but number 10. That's $22.6 billion market cap. And we can see that there. It did come down over the past week. Was at 23.4 billion, now at 22.7 billion dollar market cap. And let's check out the chart over here. We can see if we remove those drawings, so we're not dealing with clutter. Did put in a lower low over the past week. But we do have, let's see, the close from Friday, October 17th at 62.46. So 62.46. So that's right there, down about 22% in my position with an average at like 80 cents. Maybe I'll circle back and want a DCA on some of these. But yeah, actually, no, I think I want to just kind of have a mellow week. So probably not going to be buying that, even though I'm down kind of notably. But yeah. And so, let's see, 80 cents. What did I think would be acting as support? 62. Where did we close at yesterday? Right around 62. So that seems good. And yeah, let's just come over to the different levels over here. So 62 cents. Do I still think that could be acting as support? Yep. So I could probably just leave that alone. I do think that this could be coming down to around 56 cents though, corresponding with like the consolidation lows over here, April of 2025, as well as June. Consolidation lows there, retest that around 56 cents. So I do already have that noted over here. Maybe that's a level that I'd want to consider adding at. And so, yeah, these levels that I maybe want to consider adding at, maybe I want to, have some alerts there. So I just place an alert, 56 cents, or like with Ondo at 58 cents. And if those alerts go off, then, I would, potentially want to dip buy. But yeah, I kind of, turn the alerts off unless, I really want to be alerted. Otherwise, it's just noise. And that's kind of what happened last week. Yeah, 56 cents there. I might be intrigued to buy, even if, the alert goes off at 56 cents and then it goes up to 60 cents. 60 cents is a discount from where it's at right now. So, I'd be fine with that. And let's see, levels to the upside. 70 cents resistance is what I'm seeing. And that would kind of be corresponding with re-entering this parallel channel that I have drawn there. So I could see that. Yeah, it does look like we have broken below this, attempted to get back in, but got rejected. And so this doesn't look so great in all honesty. And we do have lower lows here, higher volume, and it's breaking down, not getting back in there. So that is, I don't want to be chasing this. I'm just going to be chilling. We'll see what happens. If we break back into this, then that's good. And, if my average is 80 cents, that's pretty similar to, the 50-day SMA, which is around 81.41. And, I do see resistance below that. And so I might also want to do an 81 level there. And yeah, so that could be some resistance corresponding with that moving average. And then, getting back up to 1, stuff like that. So that makes some sense. But yeah, so this is not looking so great, but it is, potentially finding support. I guess I should say, 62. Do I have 62 on there? I do. Yep, 62 cents. And I'm sorry to go back and forth so much. Yeah, I think that we could be at support now. But I also think we could be breaking down more, so I don't need to be chasing. And if we do go up, that's great. But yeah, the next one on the list is going to be Avalanche, ticker symbol AVAX. Let's check out the market cap for this one, ranked number 18. And that is at about $8.5 billion market cap. I don't know that that copied. Did. Awesome. So that did come down from last week when the market cap was $9.6 billion. So it came down by more than $1 billion. So that's not so great. I was dip buying those, so that's at least nice. But yeah, we come over here to Avalanche, just remove those drawings. This one we have put in a higher low, so that's good. And the low from yesterday, or the close, I should say, from yesterday, October 17th, was at 1996. And, down, just like with Cardano, by about 22%. And, I was adding $14.14 approximately every day last week. So now my position is divisible by $100. That's why I was doing that. But I'm not going to be adding any more this week. Just kind of want to, cool down a little bit. And, maybe this is a sign that, I'm missing the bottoms by not aggressively adding while things are lower, but maybe things end up breaking down and, I don't want to be just chasing falling knives if that's what ends up happening. But yeah, just to note, my average is, about 25.50. So like I said, down about 22% there. So the levels that I had about $20 as support, we are right around $20 and 28 to the upside. Yeah, let's come over to the list here. I'm probably just going to want to leave $20 there, as it does seem to be acting as support. So spot on there. We do have the low over here from the 10th of October at $17. And so what I'd probably want to do is just adjust this 16 to 17. And if we go down there, then maybe that's a level that I would be considering to place buy orders at. Get that average down on the dip, not just as it bleeds lower, or the alert goes off at 17 and then maybe I see, oh my gosh, price is at 16. This is scary, but maybe I'd consider buying at 16 and then hopefully we get a bounce, buy when there's blood in the streets type of thing. But yeah, then other levels to the upside, 28. Let's see about that. We do have the 50-day SMA right around 28 at 27.67. So I think that's spot on. I'm going to leave that alone. And let's see, I am going to make that yellow just so I know that I want to be adjusting alert to check out that 17. And, these other levels to the upside, what do they correspond with? Oops. Let's see, 42 up here. And that's actually, we broke below that. So this, I would say, is kind of invalid because we broke below that. So I'm going to delete that and I'll have to redraw some stuff here. But we can then do a Fibonacci extension from the low here. Actually, yep, I can actually do it from the low here. Or, maybe I don't want to do it from these wick lows because that green line that I have drawn there at like 1625, that's probably why I have had that level, as an alert. But that's been tested multiple times. So maybe that is, the level that I want to have that, extension to. And so just going from about 1625, and maybe I'll just do it from over here so I know it's like multiple levels. And then going up to, kind of the consolidation highs here, so not exact highs. And then coming back to this low. So I'll adjust those levels, just going to lock it in place so I don't forget. And so let's adjust them. So that should be 1625. And then the highs up there, let's say, what was the closing price on September 18th? The closing price was $35.20. It's right around there. I'm actually going to send this back a day. So that does correspond with the level there. And then pulling back to the low here, that was 17 bucks. So I'm just going to delete that 3. And so that would be suggesting like $36 as some resistance. I do have that noted. 42. Let's see. The next level, that's a 100%, was the 36. The next level would actually be around 47 at the 1618. So I might adjust, where am I at on here? The 42, I'm going to adjust that to 47. And 54, I do have a trim order placed there, and we do have, some levels up there, kind of the prior highs over here around 54. So I think that's fine. These other levels to the upside, let's see, 60 right around there. And so let's see. Yeah, I mean, this is just getting to silly numbers there. 69.42. I guess, yeah, I mean, why not? I'd consider trimming there, but I'd first trim at 54, so I think that's good. And so let's continue on to the next one on the list, which is going to be Chainlink, ticker symbol LINK or Link. Let's check out the market cap for that one. It's ranked number 13. What's going on here? Current active boosts for Link. Want to learn more about Boost? Check the frequently asked questions or submit a request. I don't know what that means. Are clearly displayed as such. This is not an endorsement. It is not investment or advice or financial data. So yeah, I don't know what that boost is. It's just noise. But ranked number 13, market cap of $11.3 billion. Let's see if that's gone up or down. And that has gone down from last week. Chainlink was at 12.2 billion and now at 11.3. Let's check out the current price. and just remove those drawings for a second. And we can see that the closing price from yesterday, October 17th, was at 1660.07. So 1660.07. I'm down, kind of a theme here, right around 20%. Haven't been and don't plan to be dip buying over the next week with my average at 20.95. I am a little bit in the red there, but that's no big deal. And, let's consider that I did have a support level around 17. We didn't close at that level. We closed a little bit below, but, potentially right around 17 is support. And currently we are right around 1675. So maybe that is, some support there. But then let's also consider some other levels. So I had mentioned 17 and then 30 to the upside, looking over at the weeklies. I did have 15 here and also 20. So let's see, the low over here on October 10th was at 15 exactly. So that's why I have that level there. And then 17, maybe, do I want to adjust that? Maybe we're a little bit lower. I feel like doesn't really make sense to be having 17 if we're below that, if it's as support. And so let's just consider the low from yesterday. So October 17th, the low was 1570. So I would say that I could adjust this to 16, not 17. And so that is an alert that I will want to adjust. Not planning on placing any orders. Oh, and I should note and I want to do this. May place orders if alert goes off. And so that would actually be for Avalanche. That would also be for Cardano. And that would also be for Ondo over here. So yeah, those are, I think, I want to actually kind of make those yellow. So I know to, I want my alerts to be at these orange levels, not the ones over here. That's mainly for you guys, for shorter term, stuff like that. But yeah, Link, let's talk about that one. $16, 15 to the downside, and then, to the upside, 20 and 30. And so with 20 over here, I should probably put 20 over here since we are now trading below 20. And we did get rejected last week from 20. That was resistance, so I should have had that over here. And then I should maybe adjust this one to 30 over there. 20 definitely acted as resistance. And 30, that's going to be up here, corresponding with like the consolidation highs from December of 2024, right around $30. So I think that's fine. But I wouldn't really want to trim there until it got up to like potentially 50, which would be getting back to like these, I believe, all-time highs from 2021, right around $50. I got that doodle laid out there, how I think that could go. But clearly that is not what happened. We broke lower. So I'm going to delete that. So we don't have so much clutter. And, also I should probably include the 786 here, which is around $14. So that is another level to the downside that Link could be getting to. And with that being said, I might want to actually color 14 orange, and then maybe I do an alert there. And if that goes off, maybe I'd want to add, because yeah, just looking at the charts, that 786 there, which is that locked into place? That's actually open. So I'm going to want to pinpoint this. So I'm going to lock it in place, and then I'm going to go from the exact lows and the exact highs. So the low from over here on April 7th, on like around a Liberation Day, that was $10.10. So I'm just going to delete that there. And then the high from over here, which was August 22nd, was 27,865. So 27,865, that is correct there. And then I'm actually going to extend this to the future a little bit. I might do this like 315, something like that. And so we can see, that 786 is at like 1390, so right around $14. I could see that acting as support. And so that's what I'm going to look to for that. Maybe I place an order there, maybe not. We'll see. I would consider it, as it says up here. And yeah, maybe with that being said, I should, no, I'll just, alerts and orders not placed. So, if it's just yellow, the text is orange, so I know that. But let's see, levels to the upside. Did I go over them? Link 30, 15, 30, 20 over here. So, why 20? Actually, 20 being a psychological level, corresponding with the lows over here, consolidation lows that, support. Got flipped to resistance over here, then got flipped to support over here, and then resistance again. Could be resistance again. And then 15, that's to the downside, 30 to the upside. I think I did talk about these levels, consolidation highs here, and then, like old-time highs territory around 50. Yeah, so I've covered those bases, so I'm good to move on to the next one on the list, which is going to be XRP, ticker symbol XRP. And so let's talk about this one, going over to the market cap to see that XRP is number 5. It was number 3 for a little while, had surpassed Tether, which is USDT. And that was, number 3. That's now, I think, probably reclaimed number 3, but then BNB, which is Binance's, their coin, and that is now above XRP. So that's why it's number 5, not number 3 or 4. Looking at the market cap here of about $141 billion. So just populate that over here. And so it's 141 billion relative to last week's, which was lower, or which was higher, I should say, just shy of 149 billion. So yeah, it did come down some. And so let's check out the price over here. So XRP, that is going to be, let's see, the closing price from yesterday was at 229.41. So 229.41, down only 10%. Maybe that's because I have been adding over the past week, but what I'm actually not going to continue to do is continue to add, and maybe I would then place an alert for me to want to dip buy, something like that. But considering that, I did have a support level noted at 242. We did close yesterday below that. We are a little bit higher now at like 235, but we are below that level that I have noted. So let's just come back here to update the weeklies. And so I'm going to want to adjust that 242, which I could see as like, right around the close from yesterday. So like 230, I could see right around there. And, 240. Yeah. So I think, we still have a higher low relative to the low over here. So that's potentially good. But we are, not necessarily looking so good. And so, yeah, I'm going to, again, adjust this, fine tune this to the low from April 7th, which was 161.06. So 161.06. And then the high from July 18th, it looks like it was at 366.62. And I've got that marked there. And I'm actually just going to extend this to like 315, right around there. And we can see the 786 below us is around $2. And we can see the lows from Friday, October 10th was around, the low was around 177. And so that's probably why I have the 180 here, why I have the 190 and the 206 corresponding with that. So yeah, I think that those levels are all fine. Don't need to adjust them. But, I think that, 230, lower than where we're at. We haven't been putting in lower highs. We've been putting in higher highs. So maybe we put in a low around, actually, let's do this. What was yesterday's close? That was at 229, so like 230 was the low from Thursday. That was 226 about. So I'm going to say 226. I think that could be a level that we find as support there. So I'm just going to note that. And let's see. I'm going to want to do this. I will want to, do similar. I'm not going to be daily DCAing, but, a level that this could be coming down to that I would be intrigued by, I would say, is 190. So if the 190 level here goes off, that is the level that I would be intrigued by. And so I will place one alert associated with that for a downside move. If that goes off, then I'd consider buying some XRP below $2. Otherwise, I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to hold my position. And then, levels to the upside to 90, that's above us now. We can see actually the 50 SMA is around 283. So that could be actually acting as some resistance. So resistance, I'm going to need to adjust this. So 369, I'm going to need to put that over here. And so I have that there. I got too many levels here apparently. 206, I've talked about that. Downside 290 to the upside 369. I don't know. I think I'm getting a little too excited with these numbers up here. But yeah, I've just got them placed there for now. But yeah, the resistance level I would say would be around 283. That corresponds with the 50-day simple moving average, so 283. Resistance, would I place an order there? I guess 369. I need to make this there. 283. I think that could be acting as resistance as well as like $3. So, and actually, 290. Why do I have 290? Because, I have 190. Okay, but 290. Why is that? That's approximately the 382 here, but that would be, to the downside. So, yeah, I think that I can delete 290 here. And so then I don't have so many levels there. And, 283 is the level of resistance. And so I'm going to make that, red. Don't plan on doing anything there because, let's see, what is my average? Average is 254. Maybe I could trim there. That's something to consider, but I'm not going to note anything about that because, it's been about an hour and 43 minutes now. So I'm just going to keep trucking along. Going on to the next one in the list, which is Litecoin, ticker symbol LTC, with a market cap of 20, ranked at number 20, market cap of 6.9. I think this will not be rounding, but $6.9 billion market cap. $6.966 billion. And we can see that did go down from last week. Litecoin was 7.4 billion. Now it's around 6.9 or $7 billion. And so if we come over to the list over here, now we can see Litecoin right there. Let's check out the closing price from yesterday. That was, October 17th, closing price of 90.16, so 90.16. And you can see that I'm down about 10% or 11% in my position. My average is around $101.46. I did say, support would be around $91, and we're right around there, actually above, that level. So, but I might adjust that level to the downside, but we'll just see, what that corresponds with these, this fib retracement that is not to the penny. Excuse me. And I might actually make it go a little bit higher than where it's at, because over here we do see a higher high over here, which was actually a higher high bearish divergence. So that's, interesting to see there. And so let's adjust the settings on this. So the low is from over here, April 7th. That was at 63.03. So I'm just going to adjust that a little bit. And then the high over here, which I believe was on the 10th. Yeah, it wicked up really high and then dumped. But the high there was 135.92. 135.92. Just going to make sure that is correct. Yeah, 135.92. And I'm going to extend this a little bit into the future. I think 315 is good. So I'll do that. And so, yep, 91. That's why I had that level. But I think I'm going to fine tune it a little bit to 90. That, excuse me, potentially being, a dip buy level. So I'll need to adjust the alerts. And, let's see some of those other levels. Downside, actually surprised I don't have more to the downside. I think I just spent too much time last week going over all the tickers. But the low from October 10th was about $72, so like 71.73. So 72, I think, is the level that we could note over here. And let's see, 79, kind of corresponding with that 786, around $78.63, kind of like a 786. Interesting. Yeah, 79. So I think that would be another level to consider. 79. And that would actually be the level that I would want to say, hey, maybe I would, dip buy that. Place an alert there, and then maybe I would dip buy, evaluate, see what things are looking like for me. And then, let's see the next resistance level. I have 99. That's above us now. We do have, the 50-day SMA at 110. And so what I would think, psychologically, $100 or below that, that could be some resistance. So I might put that over here, $100, just round it. And so, and I did have 113 there, so maybe I want to change this over here from 99 to 113. But let's just consider, why do I have 107 there? What are some other levels? So rather than 107, I could probably just do 110. That corresponds with the 50 SMA there. And 108 is right around the 382 there, but that's a retracement to the downside. But yeah, like 110, I think that seems pretty reasonable. So rather than 107, I just do 110. Keeps things a little bit cleaner. And then, some levels to the upside. Beyond that, I think 132, 133 could be some resistance. So 133. As it was resistance over here. And then beyond that, I think it's just like getting to, higher highs, whatnot. I'm not going to break it down. I'm getting tired. This video is getting long. So, yeah, those are some levels to potentially be paying attention to. And so let's come back to the list. And the next one that we'll be going over is going to be Aave, ticker symbol AAVE. So let's look at the market cap for Aave, ranked number 34 over here with the market cap of about 33.2 billion. So I don't think I copied that. So there we go, 32. And did come down from last week when it was around $3.7 billion. Now it's at 3.2 billion. And so let's check out the price for it over here. And let's just remove some of that noise. Just get the close from yesterday, October 17th. That was at 206.71. So 206.71. Down about 26% on this position. So yeah, maybe a little bit bummed about that. I don't know, but no, I don't care. And so we can see that Aave, I had a level at 230, and we did not hold that as support. So I'm going to need to adjust that. And so Aave's level of support, let's actually, before I do that, the low over here, 128 exactly. And so I think 130 is a level over here to, maybe pay attention to, 130. And that's probably one that, maybe I consider placing an order there. Because the low is 128, maybe we could pierce like 130. But let's see. On the shorter time frame, we have been putting in lower lows. But from this, it's a higher low, so that's potentially good. But yeah, let's just look at this fib retracement. It's not locked into place. So I will adjust that to the low over here on the 7th. That was 113.93. So let's just adjust that. And then the high over here on August 23rd was 385.59. So 385.59. Now I'm just going to extend that to 315. And so we can see that low down there around 172. So that's interesting. So, and that maybe round that up to like 180. Because that would correspond with like the highs over here, the consolidation highs. So maybe we dip down to 180. But what do I have noted? 230, right around 2. I would think 200 psychologically could be a level of support. And then below that, like I said, 180 down to, let's see. Yeah, 180 because corresponding with the highs over here, maybe we pierce 170, maybe not. And so I just say, 180. 180 is the next level to the downside. And, actually, let's consider, 130. Yeah, maybe I'd want to consider doing something at 170. Well, what did I say? Just thinking about this. Because maybe we do break below that, but then don't go to like 130. So I think I'd consider, having an alert. Having an alert at 170. And so I placed an alert there. I'd consider it. But then I'd probably want to wait until 130. Because this is a little bit more speculative and whatnot. And so, that's something that I just consider. And then levels to the upside, we'll have to see. And that did not happen, that doodle, so I'm going to delete that. But yeah, 380 right there, 620 right there. So that's how you get some of those higher numbers. But yeah, let's continue on. Got about 7 minutes before this hits the 2-hour mark. But yeah, let's go over Pepe, ticker symbol PEPE. And let's check out the market cap. And so I might go a little bit faster with these just towards the end. Pepe is ranked number 36, market cap of $2.8 billion. I don't know that that copied. It did. Good. And so it did come down from last week when Pepe was at like just about 3 billion. Now it's at 2.8 billion. And let's check out the chart of Pepe over here. And I might just do that so you guys can see all that stuff there. And actually there's some news there. Maybe that's of interest. But yeah, I'll just scroll down. So we got Pepe, got all my drawings up. So I'm pulling up the right chart as I have been pulling up the incorrect ones the past couple of weeks. And we could see the closing price from yesterday, October 17th, was at 50665. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5. And looks like I'm down about 51%. I'm not going to be DCAing with this anymore, just taking a little break. My average, I'm down more than 50%. Not so great, but it is what it is. And the level that I saw that could potentially be acting as support is around 5 zeros and a 6.9. Now we're currently around 5 zeros and a 6.7. So maybe that's not such a useful level. If we do go over to the weeklies, we can see that I did have that as support. So, I'm going to want to lower that, but also I did have 5 zeros and a 5 and a 6. And so what was the low on the 10th? That was 5 zeros and a 5. So I think that's a valid level. What was the low from yesterday? That was at, 5 zeros and a 6.3. That is a lower low than we saw over here. So I think the next level is probably just going to be delete that 9. And I can round that. And so I'm going to want to adjust that alert. And I can delete this one from over here. And then let's consider the levels that I've drawn up here. We are testing lower lows. So this Fibonacci retracement can probably be deleted. And that doodle can be deleted as well. But yeah, I would think that just, 5 zeros and a 5, maybe that's a retest of the levels here. Maybe that's a bottom, or maybe it just bleeds lower. So good to be considering that, and good to manage risk and, all of that stuff. Not planning on placing any orders. I would not consider doing it at 5 zeros and a 5 just because I have too much exposure. It's kind of a stupid, silly coin, but maybe next week, if that's not hit, maybe I would then. But yeah, let's continue on to the next one on the list, which is going to be the official Trump token, which is ticker symbol TRUMP, or Trump. So let's check out the market cap for Trump, ranked at number 64 with a market cap of about $1.2 billion there. Did go down from last week when the market cap was around $1.234 billion. Now it's a little bit lower, so it hasn't really gone down that much. But then coming over to the chart, we can just see the close from yesterday on the 17th. That was at $5.76, $5.67. And that went up from last week. I don't really believe it. But yep, $5.59 last week, and now $5.76. And so what was the level of support? $5.69. Did that hold as support? Effectively. That's a little bit lower than us, but I think that actually a better level is probably just like $5.60. So let's just round that down. Potential level of support, but I think that we could be going lower than it. So with that rounded, just going to make this yellow. Other levels to the downside, what was the low here on the 10th? That was at 457. So maybe like 469 could be a fun level to be considering as support. So 469. Oops. Got to do that. And I will make that red. Just to have it noted there, don't plan on placing an order, but I could see that. It's another level of support, and yep, lower lows and stuff. So there's that. And then these are just levels that I would plan on trimming at. Level of resistance I have marked here, $8. That's just a little bit higher than the 50 SMA, which is at $7.79. So yeah, I think that $8 is still pretty reasonable. So I'm just going to leave that one alone. And yeah, then we can continue on to the next one on the list, which is going to be Arbitrum, ticker symbol ARB, not to be confused with Arby's. And this one I was dollar cost averaging over the past week, so that's why it did move above PENGU. But let's first check out the market cap from Arbitrum, ranked number 49 with a market cap of about $1.7 billion. So let's just populate that there. Did come down from last week when Arbitrum was around 1.728. Now it's around 1.694. So it's not really a huge difference, and this might be similar to Trump in that it is potentially green now. So let's look at the chart real quick just to see that. And we can see that the closing price from yesterday, October 17th, was at 30.4 cents. So 30.4. did go up. I'm down, and I should have noted Trump, I'm down about 50%. Arbitrum, I'm down about 25%. I was daily dollar cost averaging over the past week, but I'm not going to anymore. Will be nice to have Arbitrum above Pepe and Trump. Would also be nice to have PENGU above Pepe and Trump. But, it is what it is. Gotta manage that risk. And so anyways, with Arbitrum, I did see, 30 cents acting as a potential level of support. Does seem like we have pulled back to that level, currently at 30.73 cents. So I think that was spot on, but maybe we could get a little bit lower. It looks like the low from yesterday was 28.79 cents. And then, on the 11th, it was 28.96. So 29 could be a dip buying level. So I might adjust that over here to 29. So then I do need to adjust alerts there because I don't plan on buying this on the dips. But then let's also consider some other levels. So the low over here on the 10th was around 10.68 cents. Let's see, does that correspond with any levels? No, it doesn't. So what I would say is if that low was 10.68 cents, let's just round that up to 11 cents. That could be, a dip buying level for Arbitrum. And so we have that there. And yeah, I'm not going to draw any more stuff on here. But let's see. There are potentially some other levels that could be nice dips, like 20, something like that. And so, I got 29 there. So I'll just add 20 as well over here. Oops, 20. And I might actually make that 11 cents. If Arbitrum does go down to 11 cents, that might be one to, consider. Just smaller position, so might as well I could get my average down. And so that would be kind of nice. And then, yeah, I could see this going up like 95, 96 cents. I do have around $1 there marked. 48 cents, so that was a level of resistance. We do have the moving average here around 44, so 44.55, and so maybe I'd want to mark that as some resistance, and that would be, I'm actually kind of puzzled because I feel like I'd have more stuff drawn on this. It's like if I look up ARBUSD, maybe on Kraken, do I have drawings? No. ARBUSD Bitstamp? No. Okay, so I guess I've just been looking at it on Coinbase. I just don't have much stuff drawn. Maybe I just deleted stuff. Maybe that's why. But yeah, I would think that level of resistance should be adjusted then to 44 or 45 cents. Let's just do 45 cents. And that's actually right around where I had it. So maybe I should make it 44. And then, yeah, so I think that is another level to consider there. And now over 2 hours long. So I'm just going to wrap up these last couple here, looking at Pudgy Penguins, ticker symbol PENGU or PENGU. And so let's check out the market cap for PENGU. Ranked number 58 here with a market cap of about $1.3 billion. So just going to populate that over here. It did come down over the past week. And let's see, relative to last week, it was at 1.461 billion. Now it's at 1.34 billion. And let's also check out the price over here, PENGU. The closing price from yesterday was October 17th. That was at 211.84. So 0211.84. And I had noted that, right around there, 2.3 cents could potentially be support. I should note that I am down 31% in my position, and I have been daily dollar cost averaging with just $1. So, it's nothing crazy, but it's one that I believe in. To be honest, I believe in it more than Pepe, more than Trump. And so I'd like PENGU to eventually get above there, but I don't know that I believe in it more fundamentally than I do in Arbitrum. So once PENGU catches up to Arbitrum, then maybe I'd consider adjusting this. But for now, daily dollar cost averaging $1, no big deal. I'm fine with that. But yeah, let's just check on the levels over here. So 23 or 2.3. We are below that at 2.1 cents. So maybe I want to adjust that. And so what was the low from yesterday? So Friday, October 7th, the low was basically 2 cents, just a little bit below. So I'm going to say the level that I could see as support over here, 2 cents. That seems reasonable to me. Gonna have to adjust the alert there. And yep, I have orders placed, but I'm not gonna be doing anything crazy with it. And let's see, other levels to the downside. We can see the low from October 10th. That was at like 1.7 cents. So maybe it doesn't go back down that low, but let's say like let's just do 1.7, 1.8. Maybe I'll just include, I don't know, both of them. 1.7 and 0.18. And so I might just include 0.18 there because, you know, maybe I'd want to, you know, place an alert there. So I'd consider that. But I'm just going to leave it as, you know, the daily buying because I do have orders placed and they are fine. And I think that this could be going up to, you know, notably higher, but, you know, a level of resistance. Maybe I want to adjust. It's going to be like 3 cents corresponding with the 50 SMA. And so I did have about 3 cents there. But what's that correspond with? Oh, it looks like we're testing the bottom of this channel. So maybe getting to the middle of that channel would be around 3 cents. So yeah, I am going to adjust this to 3 cents there. And I can actually tighten these a little bit because I'm rounding that down. And so 3 cents, yeah, I mean, I think that's good. I feel good about it. And so now let's go over the last one on the list, which I don't hold much of, don't plan on buying any more of. But you know, I'm still holding a little bit. I think that it could be making some new highs. But yeah, that is going to be Uniswap, ticker symbol UNI or Uni. And so let's check out the market cap over here, ranked at number 29, market cap of about $3.7 billion. Copy and paste that over here. Did come down from last week, which was at 3.8 billion. Now just a little bit lower, so not too bad. And from the list here, we can click on that, remove the drawings, and see that the close from yesterday, the 17th, was at 6.137, so 6.137. And that actually went up from last week. That's pretty crazy. I'm down about 38% in my position, not planning on DCAing. I'm only exposed to this by about $100, so not that big of a deal. My average is $9.94. Level of support that I was thinking, 590. That is, looks like below where we're at, or at least where we closed yesterday, as we are going lower, right to around 592, 593. Maybe 590 does act as support, but I could actually see it being a little bit lower than that. If we consider the low from October 11th, that low is at 554.5. But, you know, we do have some like consolidation here right around 580. So I'm actually going to adjust this level to 580. And so with that, I'll need to adjust my alerts. And let's see, levels to the downside. So like I had mentioned, the low from the 11th was 554.50. So maybe 550 is a level to pay attention to, right around there. And then 516, why do I have that? I suspect it's because it was the low on October 10th, which was actually $5, not 516. 516 corresponds with a level from the past that I have over here. So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to leave that. I think that could be a level to pay attention to. And, you know, while I'm not going crazy about it, maybe this is one that, you know, I would want to place an alert there. If it goes off, maybe I want to consider buying it. Levels to the upside that could be acting as resistance. I have 890 marked, but really we have the 50-day SMA right there around 838, maybe 8. Yeah, let's just do 838. Because price is actually that moving average, price lower than that moving average. That moving average is going to come down. So yeah, 838. I think that's a good one. And let's just consider this retracement that I have here. We're right around there. It's not locked into place, so I might just adjust this to those levels at the very end of the stream. And so we can see the low over here, 49598, 4551. So that's correct. And then the high over here was 12285 or 12285. Yeah, 12285. So 12285. And I'm just going to extend this to like 315. And so we can see that we are below that 786 there. We did wick down to like 516. And so, yeah, maybe those are some levels to be paying attention to. But 580, more immediately, I think that could be acting as some support. So, yeah, so that's all the levels over here. That's all of, what I plan on doing over the next week. Nothing too crazy, just $20 daily DCAs with Bitcoin with a $100 limit buy order at, let's see, around 102. And then also daily DCAs with Ethereum, nothing exciting there. Do have a $100 dip buys placed for RLC, for LRC, and I will be adjusting my Doge dip buy from Robinhood to Coinbase just so I am earning APY on that USDC. Same with that $100 dip buy for Bitcoin. Going to continue to daily dollar cost average Solana, which ends up being about $100 over the course of the week. And then I do have a limit dip buy for Fartcoin placed at, I believe, 20 cents. And then if that gets filled, I might place another order around, let's see, Fartcoin around, 7 cents, somewhere around there. And then other than that, daily dollar cost averaging $1 in PENGU. Nothing too exciting there. But with that being said, let's flip over to the, all this stuff over here. And I might actually want to, I want to shrink it a little bit here. So I'm not blocking that. And maybe I'll have to do the same thing next week. But yeah, we can see looking at this, that Ethereum, I was up 99%. And now I'm down to 40%, and people are talking about, hey, we're entering a bear market and stuff like that. And so, maybe I regret not trimming up here. Maybe I also not regret trimming Doge up here or over here. But it's not a big deal. My thesis is into the end of the year and potentially extending into the new year. And so I'm not sweating it. And we do have, the three positions that I am green on. It looks like Ethereum up 40%, Bitcoin in orange there up by 9%, and then Doge, it looks like I'm up by just 1%. Other than that, everything else is negative. But, there's still hope. I'm not worried about it, so I am just hanging out, not sweating it. And then just coming back to the thesis here, as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below or in the chat, as long as yours not a spam bot. Did get one of those today. As always, make sure you subscribe if I didn't mention that. And I'll be adding timestamps in a little bit once this stream is over. But I got to run some errands first. And I hope that you guys have a nice, beautiful day out. It does look like it's nice here. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weekend. Touch some grass. Take a breather. And we'll see where we're at next week in next week's Crypto Corner Sat Stacker. Thank you so much for joining. And I'll see you